Mr. Beast is not a person. No, literally, Mr. Beast is not a person. Mr. Beast is a brand, a company, a financial entity. Jimmy is not Mr. Beast, not anymore. In fact, he's not been Mr. Beast for a while. He's basically a mascot at this point. So what happens when people can't make the difference between Jimmy the person and Mr. Beast the business? You get people saying they've met Jimmy in real life and they insist he's such a great person, so... No way! Mr. Beast can't possibly do all of this! But really we have three personas that people mistake for one. Jimmy the person, Jimmy the Mr. Beast representative, Mr. Beast the company. Jimmy the person is the teenager who had a dream. Be the best YouTuber. Jimmy might be a great, ambitious, determined guy. But Mr. Beast wants profits. The big money, baby. Jimmy might be a great, helpful friend. But Mr. Beast doesn't care about you. Only about the views. And over all of this, Jimmy the representative is the one keeping the image of Mr. Beast the company. The face. The liar. And that's what Dogpack404's first video is about. Mr. Beast the company and Jimmy the representative. Their tactics are manipulative, exploitative, and sometimes downright illegal. Sure, it probably wasn't solely Jimmy's idea for his friends and employees to sign his name on the t-shirts or to sell merch by convincing his fans that they have a chance at winning a prize.
If you buy one of our limited edition 40 mil special shirts, we're celebrating 40 million subscribers with a really big video, then we will sign that shirt and some of them will get random prizes like this.
Or that he's actually losing money by doing that when in fact he was winning way above the prize money.
During those 5 hours, I counted 46 illegal lotteries.
Or to change everything initially advertised about Feastable.
They're made with only 5 ingredients, but still taste amazing. I wanted to just make a better for you snack brand because I think a lot of the stuff out there is just terrible for you.
Now in 2024, Mr. Beast changed the formula again to where it has mostly the same ingredients as Hershey's and even more sugar and more calories per bar.
The video ideas are probably not his alone idea. And definitely not the production part of it, or whoever ends up being a contestant. He has teams over teams to transform this simple channel who was supposed to make fun videos into a well-oiled machine ready to mass produce content that earns this company more and more money. But what for? Probably Jimmy the person's idea of what the best YouTuber is. So Jimmy is the driving force of Mr. Beast. It's a machine built to make Jimmy the best YouTuber. But obviously, somewhere along the way, Mr. Beast grew a consciousness and veer slightly left of Jimmy's goals. And Jimmy, instead of making the ship veer back on course, he himself went with it. Probably that's where he found the fame, the recognition, and he probably didn't care. The end justifies the means, and if the numbers go up, who cares how you got there? Jimmy, the newly rich kid, couldn't possibly know how to manage a company. He might not have known what was happening in it most of the time, or at least not how serious the situation was. Or could he? Jimmy created the beast. Unfortunately, he forgot to grow at the same rate with the business. Jimmy remained a teenager with that insane aspiration, while the beast needed more departments whose sole job is to make sure you're not gonna fuck up royally. And he obviously didn't think he should create any of them. Nothing should stay in his way of making his idea a reality. Not even what's supposed to protect him from ruin. Like a competent HR department that should make sure you're hiring skilled people and not registered sex offenders. You know, people who can tell you, nah man, this move might send you to prison. Or people who aren't your friends with no qualifications for the job. You're now director of fucking me in the ass, but I don't know how to do that. It's okay, you'll get used to it. Or people that can help you with ideas that can work, at least without breaking some laws or some humans along the way. Oh, I know! How about a department that can study and come up with safety considerations? You know, for those crazy ideas. Because not every idea should become reality. Or a YouTube expose is gonna be the least of your worries. What are you, stupid? This is Mr. Beast. We're doing the impossible here. We can't do that with shit like safety. And maybe he should have thought about the teams involved with developing and managing the projects he calls videos. And maybe then the company wouldn't rival their sponsor Amazon in disastrous working conditions and the borderline torture of the contestants participating in the Beast Games.
The lack of water, food, and medical attention was embarrassing and sad. Women and elders injured. I witnessed 2 seizures, a sprained ankle. Staff and medical did nothing to help her, leaving her for hours crying. Teammates were helping console and aimed to get the staff to assist. PAs ignored us. I witnessed a rope literally wrapped around a young woman's neck, choking her out on the red team. Multiple people being trampled on their heads and chests. I blamed the production and Mr. Beast for standing in front of us, encouraging the mosh pits and people fighting over jerseys. Many of us nervous for our safety, it was difficult to breathe or even stand up straight. The ones eliminated were discarded without food, water, hotel, or flight home. Without a safe space to decompress, we just sat around the casino at slot machines, delirious and starving. In some cases for over 24 hours without anything. Spouses and family members were furious. I know one account of someone driving across states to come pick up their loved one. The production's travel department was non-responsive. No one would answer calls or emails. The hotel would not let us rebook unless there was a flight arranged.
Maybe this way he would have avoided being compared to a war criminal.
He goes, "What? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists."
But his employees aren't blind, poor, or African, so why would he treat them right? Wait, maybe this is a 5-head tactic. Get your employees disabled and then get them in your videos so you can cure their disability. This is why Jimmy is a visionary. This is why we aren't billionaires. We're just not open-minded enough. Most definitely. Every company needs a strong policy that shows what they stand for. Yeah, like the policy that says no doesn't mean no. Wait, what? So we're surprised Mr. Beast is collecting sexual predators like their Pokemon? Sure, the policy isn't about interpersonal relationships, but about the tactics allowed, or rather demanded, to be applied to obtain collaborations and permissions from other companies and employees of other companies. It's obvious Mr. Beast the company stands for pressure, coercion, exploitation of any opportunity. So it shouldn't be a surprise to hear about the human experiment veiled as a challenge that left Jake Weddle traumatized.
Like, things were cool and funny on paper. It got to a point where, like, they weren't turning the lights off. You know, I asked them, I said, can we like have like nighttime hours? You know? And they said no, because it would fuck up the time-lapse shots. The time-lapse of what? Me sleeping? Or me not sleeping? Yeah, I saw in other videos they did like, oh, you're gonna get XYZ hours of sunlight. Oh, great! Well, I don't know how they figured that one out. I didn't have it. You know, one of the things was you got to take away your clock, so you didn't know what time it was. Okay, I got no access to sun. I got no access to clock. I don't know, like, the lights are on me all the time. I wasn't sleeping. I could not sleep, and I have insomnia problems now. But they might have started there.
Taking advantage of the power you have over a situation to keep pushing a person beyond the healthy limits that even science won't touch, because you need a little video that will appear insane enough to break your viewership records. Is there anyone out there, genuinely anyone, who believes that Mr. Beast the company is this wholesome guy trying to help the world? Jake would have left at any point. You claim Muskina wasn't coerced by simply being in a relationship with unbalanced power dynamics. How is this Mr. Beast pressuring him? Well, this is a promise.
It's gonna be bad for me to last like 5 days tops when you have like nothing left. You're the first, it's gonna be like a breeze for most of it. And by the end of it, after 30 days, you're gonna get $300,000 because it's $10,000 a day.
This is not a promise. Let's try it again. This is a promise.
Most importantly, over here is your $500,000.
Dude, it's real.
Well, it better be.
If both of you stay in here for 100 days, you keep it. But if one of you leaves, you both get nothing.
We're not leaving.
This is not a promise. There was no threat brought up in Muskina's thread about their professional relationship ending because of a breakup. It's all assumption on Muskina's part. While Jake knows he won't get the money promised if he ends the challenge. By contract. By previous experience.
Based on the Rubik's Cube thing and based on all the other stuff, like there was so much pressure to just do it. Just do the thing, you know? And if I refuse, it's just, Oh, that's the whole video. I guess the budget's, so much money up in flames because Jake said he wouldn't want to do the thing. And so I wanted to be a good sport, and I wanted to get the boost, and I wanted the cash, and so I start running at 12.
And we all know what happens in these videos. Mr. Beast keeps piling on more challenges, but at key moments, after the contestant has put in enough effort into the challenge, you consider it a loss and a shame if they stop at that moment. And we know every decision Mr. Beast takes is meticulously researched first to be the perfect cattle for their intended results. Keep them in, don't let them quit. I mean, Jimmy himself has admitted how much of the company resources are going into the research of the market and psychology of the viewer to make this channel the greatest. So why wouldn't he research the psychology of the games themselves and what makes a contestant keep going until the end? He obviously idolizes Squid Game after all. Kind of ironic, since Squid Game criticizes people like him. And it doesn't stop here. Do you know what happens when you spend a significant amount of time in isolation? How about what happens when you can't sleep? Do you think a person who is mentally impaired can consent to any new rules that Mr. Beast wants to put him through?
I gotta get out. I can't do another day in here. Jimmy comes in and I'm asleep. I don't know what time it is. I don't know, it's like 2 or 3 or whatever. He's like, why is he sleeping? I don't know, because I can't sleep. And he comes in, he wakes me up. And he goes, ask me why I have 2 briefcases. And I'm like, why do you have 2 briefcases? And he goes, oh, because this one's for today, and this one's for the challenge. And I go, what's the challenge today? He goes, you're gonna run a marathon. You're gonna do 22.6K, whatever it is. You're gonna do it on that treadmill over there.
Mr. Beast has all the power the moment you sign that contract, which is probably lax enough to allow them to change the rules of the contest at any time. And at this point, it seems like Mr. Beast the company functions seamlessly when it's not doing company things. Mr. Beast is not the greatest channel in the world. I would define it by 2 words: incompetence and cruelty. Jimmy is not the sole responsible here. But who knows, maybe he does really lead his team as a dictator. And nobody's really speaking up or being heard unless they're agreeing to Jimmy's vision, so they're going there every day to get the paycheck and nothing else.
My first manager literally said that his strategy was to always align with Jimmy, like in terms of, I guess, like feedback on videos or whatever. Like he never disagreed with Jimmy because he thought that that was the safe move, because that meant the only times he was wrong was when Jimmy was also wrong, so he couldn't get mad at him for it. And I feel like that's the definition of being a yes man.
I mean, Jimmy really does seem to not care about the consequences of his whims even in his free time.
Gary V, it's like fucking 11 p.m. just out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, yo, I got like 30 people to call, hop in. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, it'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in. I was like, okay. Yeah. And so I just joined the call and I just see like Logan and I don't even know these other people. I don't want to put them on blast. All these like very successful people in this call. And Gary's just like, everyone shut the fuck up. Here's what you're going to do and you're going to do it right now. You're all going to buy a bunch of CryptoPunks. And we're all just like, he's like, who here owns one? And like one guy raised his hand, and it's because Gary bullied him into buying it the day before. And we're all just like, are you sure, Gary? And we're asking questions, and he's like, just buy it. I was just so pulled by his like conviction that I bought a bunch. Wait. Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say, but
you have to say,
please.
I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, punks?
Just shy.
He does whatever he wants with no consideration. But he also doesn't seem to realize the magnitude of admitting to manipulating the crypto market with his stellar buddies and then claiming...
Yeah, I had some that like, whatever, 20, 30x.
Ah, so I got 20, 30x out of this. What should I do with it? Maybe pay for some surgeries. Come here to your messiah, you sick fuck. Let me kiss it better. Puh. But Jimmy the person is not so bad, at least from what his friends say, because everyone else is not so generous in their descriptions of him. Mr. Beast the company and Jimmy the representative, however, are definitely that bad. Lies over lies, cover-ups over cover-ups.
About them covering it up to such an extreme degree that they can't admit to one little thing.
Will we ever reach the end of this? And the sad thing is, most companies are like that. Most companies are made to turn profits, so they become greedy little machines that represent the cumulative desire of all the people constructing it, regardless of the ethical cost. Most companies have skeletons in their closet. But most companies don't insist on the opposite. Most companies don't lie unnecessarily, because most companies understand it's really hard to contain so many lies. Most companies understand there's consumer rights now. Most companies adhere to a set of laws. But this does not stand for YouTube channels. YouTube is the land of the free, where anyone can be scummy as they want, and the only thing they answer to is the will of the internet. And YouTube TOS sometimes. You might get cancelled a few times. But hey, negative PR is still PR. But just because plenty of companies out there are shit, it doesn't mean Mr. Beast should be exempt from judgment. In fact, it's worse, because his audience is mostly children. Now imagine a toy company using the same tactics against children and then painting themselves as good-natured, wholesome philanthropists. Would you also say, exploit the kids? As long as you build wells in Africa. And because of this, Jimmy the Mr. Beast representative is a money-hungry, attention-seeking piece of shit whose only purpose is to sell an image and hide all of the questionable things from the public eye.
People at the company speculate that he is the Antichrist.
Because at no point did he stop to ask, should I actually do this? Is there anything more important I should focus on? Jimmy is still a teenager whose only interest is growing, and he's obviously the foundation everything else is built on. He's feeding the beast to keep going. There's no consideration for the good of humankind. In fact, the philanthropy is just another way to get more money. It's as fake as the rest of his content. If not through the actual events of the video, it's through his intention that has nothing to do with helping people.
Hard to go into the philanthropy right now because that's kind of what I'm investigating.
Okay.
And I've received DMs from people who I have verified as Mr. Beast employees, claiming different ways in which they're sort of fluffed up, you know? And it's sort of a controlled narrative. Like, I'll give one example, which is a DM I received about somebody saying that when he healed 1,000 blind people, many of those people were going to get the surgery for cheap or for free regardless.
Okay.
And he maybe like expedited the process or something.
So,
but then he sort of claims full credit for it. It's not to discredit his charity work, but sometimes there's like the charity is being used to fund certain interests.
Smile for the camera. Tell them how happy I'm making you. Can you see this? Can you see how much good I'm doing? It's a show, and the show must go on, no matter what. Even if you hire someone on the sex offender list, even if your friend might end up on the same list, even if there's apparently multiple accounts of similarly questionable behavior. Even if you starve hundreds of people and deprive them of their medication because you didn't make sure your project team organized this event properly.
And then if you get there, then you don't like get your medication, production lost some people's medication, and those people got eliminated because production lost their medication.
Even if you have to steal people's panties. While Jimmy's eyes shine because numbers go up, woo! Jimmy the representative smiles for another thumbnail and calls his team to find a new idea about what other incredible dangerous thing they should subject someone to. And Mr. Beast the company makes it happen. Dogpack404's second video is less about the company practices and more about Jimmy the person and his involvement. Because let's say Mr. Beast the company wasn't fully in his control. He supposedly needed a whole private investigation into his company practices and employee behavior because he just didn't know any of this. Right. So how much was Jimmy actually involved in? Let's see. He sure had no problem approving everything the company's done. He sure had no problem being the face of all of this. Was there supposed to be someone to tell him not to do human experiments? Was there supposed to be a person to raise their hand and say, keeping a human locked up in one room, especially without turning off the lights, and even not allowing them any way of telling the time, is actually torture? Was there supposed to be someone someone to point out, hey, we need a lot more staff to deal with an event of this magnitude. Maybe we should plan for it a bit longer to make sure we can manage it. Was there supposed to be someone to tell him, don't use the poor and the suffering for dangerous games for money? Maybe if he needs a bunch of other people to point out common sense to him, he might have just lost the plot. Maybe he got lost in the little schemes he managed to get away with, and that got him to where he is now. But he didn't get away with it because he's special. He was just slightly luckier than everyone else. It sure seems like the problems in Mr. Beast the company result directly from Jimmy's careless, greedy, I don't care about anything but the results attitude. It might be him being a child, not knowing how to lead the company and learning on the go, but it's also his flippancy regarding his leadership in the company and lack of care for anything but the numbers going up. You can't build a good company on that. But Mr. Beast was Jimmy the person first, the determined kid with a big dream, ready to stop at nothing to achieve it. And then Mr. Beast was his channel, his dream. And then Jimmy the person made a beast. Did the beast swallow Jimmy completely? Well, the leaked email regarding his decisions after his supposed, totally legit, absolutely amazing private investigation into his own company says, yeah, Mr. Beast is no longer a person. Whoever Jimmy was, it doesn't matter. Because Jimmy is gone. There's just the corporate lies left now. I wonder who wrote this email for him. It's even complete with the whole, we'll circle back on this. No public statement, no transparency, no accountability, no responsibility. Just hide and wait for the internet to forget. And maybe edit some videos and delete some comments. I'd say stop watching Mr. Beast. At least until they learn what having a healthy amount of transparency means. But his audience is mostly children, and they're already getting back on his side. So today, as always, on YouTube, we learn nothing. I'll be Ruz, and I've known for a long time that Mr. Beast is suspicious. What gave him away? But of course, it was his face. I mean, you can think Jimmy is great, or that Mr. Beast is doing God's work, or they're all evil. But one thing is for sure. Fuck this face. No, not literally. I mean, screw this face. Wait, no, that's not any better. I hate this shit.